Well, I'm excited. So Dave came up with this idea a couple of weeks ago, and we have obviously agents on the lead program here at Sweet Group. And when you're on leads, one of the things to be aware of is how am I converting? How am I talking to people on the phone? Am I closing them for an appointment? If you look at, online leads, the whole industry knows this. Speed to contact is really important. In fact, if you take 10 minutes versus 5, it drops by 400% the likelihood of you to connect with this person. And if it's 30 minutes, if you wait 30 minutes to get a hold of them, you're 21 times less likely to ever get a hold of them. So speed is one thing we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about like your mindset as well. We'll go through some of these categories. Your mindset, the first conversation you're having, what do you say to people? I'll give you some objections, like handling things. What do you normally do? And obviously closing for the appointment is the goal. I would think these three are going to talk about that today. So I want them to share because these are literally the top 3 converters in the company. So I want to hear what they have to say. So let's just start with Dave, mindset. So you're an online lead guy. When you say you're doing something, you're in the office talking to somebody, or you're writing an offer, or you're doing something else, and a lead comes in. How do you think, first of all, about that? What is your mindset?
So, as everybody knows, like with the Opcity, right? Like where my first thing as soon as it comes in is I'm doing a long press on it and hitting claim, like without even looking at what it is. Like okay. I think for me at least that was an important barrier to get over. Like I don't care what it is. Like it could be one for 40,000, it could be one for 400,000 or 4 million. Like I want that lead regardless. Mm-hmm. And so I don't take any time to even glance and see. I just long press, accept, try to claim the lead. So that's the
first thing you do is accept it. Even if you're in the middle of doing something else and it comes in.
Yeah, if I have my leads on, it's because I know that it could come in at any moment. And so I try to also be really good about snoozing them if I am doing something where I can't be interrupted. So like if I'm going into an appointment with somebody or I'm showing houses
You'll
with
snooze
somebody,
it then.
I'll snooze it because I don't want to miss out on a good opportunity or be distracted or anything.
So Dave Carney, you probably know these people, right? Chuck Foster, Chris Norris. I just want to make sure we introduce them all for the video. Chris Norris is going to have a speech for us too, special video. So Chuck, mindset for you, is that the same kind of thing you do? What do you think about when are you always on, or do you turn it on and off a bit according to your availability?
I have a little bit slightly different tactic.
I love it.
It's always on except for, it goes off, snoozes at nighttime, that kind of thing. At a certain point,
okay,
unavailable.
Right.
But for the most part, it's always on. And if it so happens to be a situation where I can't answer it, I've missed that lead, but I always want the opportunity. So, there's times where I've had to say goodbye to quality leads, but there's also times where I know that, again, it's that how fast can you get to it kind of mentality. And so it's just about being ready. We have that luxury as real estate agents that we don't always have to be, actively working when we can be ready and prepared to be working. So I always just remind you, keep your phone nearby, keep it handy so that you don't miss those opportunities. The closer it is to you, the faster you get to it, the more likely that you'll get it versus not get it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, but you're leaving yours on most all the time.
Yeah, most all the time. I would hate to miss a lead opportunity, but at the same time, I also want to have it always available. And there are occasional times, like I said, where I'm driving a client, we're going from house number 2 to house number 3, and I'm trying to navigate while also drive, safely. And it's like, oh man, I would sure love that $800,000 lead right there. But
right.
Again, there's also other times where I feel I tried Dave's method of, at one point I was snoozing. For me, it just was one step too many. And so I just cut that barrier out and was, again, present and available whenever it is. And so whenever I'm at my house, it comes with me throughout the home. It's a bummer because, again, we're trying to detach in a technology world every once in a while. But at the same time, there are times where I use the snooze opportunity where it's like, I'm at the kids' soccer game.
Right.
I've got to be focused. I've got to be doing something like that.
Be present.
But for the most part, phone's either in hand or within reach and just ready to hit that button.
It's interesting you mentioned that around the house. So my wife is growing up around me. She was in real estate for a while too. She was in real estate for 8 years, I guess, but not as long as I'm around. So like me, my phone is never more than 2 feet away from me, even in my house. Like it's a habit I've built up over all these years. Like the phone is always right there. My wife will be upstairs painting in her art room. Her phone's downstairs in the kitchen. I'm downstairs and it'll ring.
You're gonna give me a panic attack.
It just drives me crazy all the time. It's like, I'm not answering your phone, Don. It's like, your phone is that, I'll take it up to her or whatever. It's like, as a realtor, my phone is always right there. So you guys,
Yeah.
it's always right there. How about you, Chris? Do you snooze? Do you keep it on all the time? What is your mindset about getting a lead? You just want as many as you can get, or?
I'm pretty similar to Chuck, where it's usually on all the time, unless I'm on vacation. And then sometimes I'll snooze it on vacation, only because like I want to be that point of contact if I answer it to show them the house. Like I don't want to answer it and then have somebody else show it, because I feel like you tend to lose that connection.
Sure.
You can have a great conversation on the phone.
So if you're not going to be available to actually show something,
Right. Yeah. It's different if I have them. I've already shown them a house and I built that rapport with them. If they call in, I'm on vacation, then I'm like, hey, Brent, can you go show them the house? But I just don't think it's fair if I get the lead and I'm not anywhere near to have that communication with them to build that rapport. And I'm like, hey Brent, go show them a house for me, and then I end up getting the deal and Brent does all the work. Like, just not fair to me. So typically that's the only time I snooze it is on vacation, which is very hard for me.
So I like that. So everybody has kind of a similar thing, but when you first talk to somebody, that was one of the things, like when you first answer the phone, like how do you open, Dave?
Yeah. So I was actually thinking a little bit about this just now too. That's when I'm trying to get in the mindset, that's the time I use is when my phone rings, I know what the Realtor.com call center agent is going to say. I don't have to listen to their spiel right then. So I use those few seconds to get myself in the zone of talking to that client, because we've all heard it 100 times. Like, just to let you know, this lead is owned by your brokerage and I've got so and so on the line for you and they're looking at
Well, pre-approved.
Right, exactly. The information's right there. So I use that to just kind of, okay, I'm in the zone. And then I'll let you take it from here. Here you go. And for me, it's really important to first establish who I am, because they've just had to go through this connection process that sometimes for some people can be frustrating and it can be hard for them. And so I start off with, thank you so much for letting them get us connected. Like they said, my name is Dave. I'm a local agent here now, so you're talking to the right person. And almost always that's met with some form of relief, like, oh, thank God.
I love that. I'm a local agent, so you're talking to the right person.
Yeah, because they've just had to talk to somebody, and a lot of times they know they're not local, and they just, nobody likes in this world to get connected, having to go through that anyway. So I just acknowledge that pain right up front and say, I'm the right person. My name's Dave. Thank you. And I'm just acknowledging again, thank you for taking the time to let them get us connected. And I think that goes a long way.
Do they typically say something then? Do they start, well, what about this? Or
Most of the time they say, oh, thank God, right? They're like, oh, good, that's great. And that's all. And so then the next thing that I always say from there is, so it looks like you were interested in such and such a property. Give me just a few minutes. I'm getting that pulled up. I might have it in front of me already,
Right.
but I'm buying myself time, again, to get in the mindset, to know what my next steps are. Give me just a few minutes while I get that pulled up. And then my very next step, I immediately go for, I want to get in front of this person. I want to be there in person. So, hey, so it looks like they said you want to see this property today at 1 o'clock. Is that right? And then let them kind of talk about it. Because they're either going to say, yes, absolutely, or they're going to say, well, actually, I just had some questions about it, or we're out of town and we're not, and so we're just kind of looking and whatever, and that guides the rest of the conversation. But I would say all of my conversations with a new lead, when I get connected on the phone call, that's how they always start. Thank you so much for letting us get connected. My name is Dave. I'm a local agent, so you're talking to the right person. Looks like you were questioning, you had an inquiry on 123 Main Street and you wanted to see it today at 1 o'clock. Is that right? Give me just a few minutes while I get this pulled up.
Love that. You guys get that? That's a good opening. How do you do it, Chuck? When they first transfer over to you, what's the first thing you say or ask? Or do you ask a question? Do you make a statement? Do you introduce yourself?
Yeah, about 80% similar to Dave's approach. So long story short, the phone rings, and during that time frame, again, that part where the person is telling you all about this, the details they have and the brokerage owning the lead and things like that, I'm usually logging into my computer. I'm also looking at the phone, looking at the address, pulling it up on MLS so that if it was an immediate, let's talk about this from the get-go, I've already got the information. I can at least talk them through the property. But normally I also try and break down that fourth wall. And again, it's 2025. We're all so geared up that our phone ringing is something negative. So the fact that this person just sat through a phone call after clicking a button on the internet, I describe that. I say, hey, Brent, I know you just clicked a button on the internet, your phone rang, somebody asked you 1,000 questions. The good news is they've connected you to a local agent who lives and works in the area that you're looking in. So tell me more. Is this the beginning of your home search? And then I let them talk. I know they've identified a property, potentially they've identified 2, 3, 4 properties, but it's only going to tell me that one. I want them to start talking to me about their mindset. I know then from them talking, are they, what type of personality are they? What type of, who am I talking to, so that I can eventually then mirror and match their cadence, their tone, their urgency and things like that. But I kind of give that open-ended question and then begin the process of listening, because I think that's one of our biggest keys as a real estate agent is to listen to your client, listen to their needs, their concerns. And usually that involves them. Well, I mean, we've actually been looking for a while. We're trying to figure this out. I've got a new job. And then you're starting to get all those things without ever having to ask another question. So again, make it personal by breaking down that fourth wall and then let them talk. And then you know how to kind of take the next step is usually how I take 100% of my Opcity calls.
I love that. So your mindset though is the same as far as you're catching the past. So you're acknowledging they just went through this process.
Yeah.
And you're thanking them. So you're not another step. They're gonna have to go through 25 questions again.
The end of the line here.
Yeah. So you're done with all that crap. Now we can actually talk as human beings.
Because their guard's been brought up.
Yeah.
Because anytime somebody's asking you a series of questions, after question 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, your adrenaline's usually up, your guard is usually up. And so I want them to come back down to a peaceful setting and remind them that I see my job as a realtor as a helper. And let's just be calm. Let's talk about it. Tell me more. So Rick, you got a new job. Congratulations. That's wonderful. You're going to love Boise. Tell me more. So you identified a house in Meridian. Is that near your work? And I know eventually I'm going to get them to that house. But this also gives me a quick way of calming them and building that trust bridge between me and them. And again, reminding them that my act is here to help. So, yeah.
How about you, Chris? So initially, first thing, what do you say to introduce yourself or get information out of them? What's your first go-to?
So, I mean, I guess I do a little bit of each, but not anywhere near as intensive as theirs.
Yeah.
For sure. So, I mean, basically, I do a little bit what Chuck does, like as soon as I get the call, like I'm immediately looking at finding the property, so I can figure out where it's at, if it's vacant, any information I can find on it. So that way, if they start firing away with questions, which, it happens sometimes. If they're just like, hey, what is this? This is all I want to know. Answer these questions. Because sometimes, like Chuck said, their guard is up. They just want answers. And so just being prepared for that. But typically, I just kind of introduce myself, Chris Norris, obviously a local agent, and just, what can I do to help you? Essentially is kind of how it starts out. What questions do you have on 123 Main Street that you're kind of looking at currently? And a lot of times they're like, oh, okay, and my questions are, and they'll run through the questions, and I'm like, awesome. Here's some of the answers I can get you right away. Here's some of them that I'm going to have to do a little digging on. Would you like to go take a look at it at, whatever time that they requested? And just kind of move through the motions to kind of get them in the house quicker. I don't typically spend a lot of time on the phone because I feel like sometimes you kind of lose them a little bit. I'd rather just get them in the house, especially if it's that day. If it's that day, I usually just try and get them in the house because then I ask all those questions, take all the notes when we're there. If it's one of those that are like, hey, I just want questions answered on this property, we're like 6 months out, then I'll spend a little more time, kind of chat with things that they're looking for. I try and once I get that property pulled up and I'm like, oh, it's in Southeast Boise. Is that important to you? Like to stay in this area? Are you open to looking in different areas that you'd like to live? And then it's like, why did you choose Southeast Boise? And just kind of direct the questions into why they made the choices that they chose online with that one property. Because then you end up learning, why they chose it, right?
I work right down there.
Like I have a client that also came off of OpCity where she chose the zip code 83702. And my first question was, why 83702? Like, what's so important about 83702? It was her first time she ever came to that area. And when she moved here 3 years ago, she's got friends there and she just loves that area. So at that point, you know, like, all right, we got it dialed in. 83702, you know what's important to her, why she wants to be there, and what she's looking for. So that's kind of how I do it. Like I said, it's a little bit here and there, but it's not quite as intense as these two.
Well, it's good. All three have mentioned diffusing and lowering tension, right? First goal of the first conversation, the first few words is to make them feel accepted, make them feel like, hey, okay, we're welcome here. And I always think of a tachometer, you know, it's redlined on the chest or an RPM tachometer. It's maxed out defensiveness when we first get on the phone. So all three of them have their own way of doing it, but diffusing that.
Let's get a question.
Yeah.
So after all of that, guys, you're driving your car. You cannot access your emails, I guess, because I mean you're driving. I'm driving on my phone. It sucks. I mean I cannot see anything.
Right.
What is the strategy after that? I mean, I can say I can call you back later, but sometimes you lose the client because they never answer again. So what's
It's hard to gather the details off of your phone that they might want, especially if you're in the middle of something else.
So I would personally, in that scenario, I would focus a little bit harder on that appointment, because if you have the appointment, it doesn't matter if you can get it or not. Like maybe you then later pull it up and it's already pending or something, right? I would say, you know what time they want to see it. Okay, looks like you want to see this property today at 1 o'clock. Fantastic. Let me do this. I need to contact the listing agent. I'm going to get that appointment set up and just confirm that we're good for that time. Can I call you back at this number in about 5 minutes and just let you know that that works? Chances are they're going to pick up that phone call because they're waiting for you to confirm that appointment. That gives you time. If you know you're a ways away from being at your computer next or something, pull over, then you can look at your phone. Then you can really dig in and see, okay, actually that time does work, fantastic. You can actually confirm. Then you call them back and then you can start asking some additional questions, I think, at that point. But I think because you're right, if you hang up, you increase your chances of losing that client for sure, no matter what. But I think if you're focused on the appointment, that's how I would.
Or you mean information in general. Like if they ask a couple of questions and they're like, hey, I need this information. And you're like, you know what? Those are informations that I got to do a little digging on because I got to contact title. I got to call the agent. It's not just common knowledge because they obviously want those answers. You know, and it's like, give me 5 minutes. Let me call you back with those answers. It's like, you know, like you said, they're expecting a call back because they want answers. Right.
They went through that process for a reason.
There's absolutely a reason. So I mean, I've done that too. I had one yesterday. Same thing. He wanted like 36 items on a house, you know, so it was one of those. I was like, I could give you 5 of these answers, but the rest of them I'm gonna have to do some digging on, and I'll get right back to you and let you know. And he was totally okay with that. But it's like that providing value. Like you have the answers. If you let them know, like, hey, I'll give you those answers.
And be
They're more
realistic with
likely
the
to
time
answer.
frame. Like if it's going to be 5 minutes, say it's 5 minutes. If it's going to be an hour, say it's an hour. Just confirm that time works for them. Whatever it's going to be, most of the time that person will pick up again.
On this initial conversation, the first time you're talking to them, is there anything you guys are looking for to get from them to determine if they're serious or not? How do you go by feel? Do you go by how the conversation goes? Or are there like, I've learned, you know, and I talk to this many people, if this is the scenario, then they're probably serious. If not, then I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's only really one important piece of information that I care about, and it's if they already have an agent.
Okay.
I don't care if they're pre-approved. I don't care if they even qualify for anything. I don't care if they're 3 years out but just really want to see this house. In my mind, worst case scenario, I'm going to get to go look at a house that may eventually work for another client that calls in or that I have. The one I do care about is if they have an agent already, because I do think sometimes people just don't understand how that works, and I can go into how I do that because I don't just ask them directly
I was
necessarily.
gonna say, how do you just ask? Hey, do you work with another agent? Or?
I used to, and I think that's okay. But what I do now is I specifically tell them, okay, this is the property we're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Let me reach out. I'm going to talk to the listing agent on this property. I let them know that I'm not the listing agent because sometimes they think that's who they're talking to. And I think by just letting them know that most of the time successful in learning like, oh, I thought I started a listing agent. We already have an agent. Okay, not a problem.
They'll say that
Then
sometimes.
why aren't you talking about this? I don't say that. That's what I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, which I think just asking them is fine too. There's nothing wrong with just being upfront and just, hey, just to confirm, do you already have an agent that you're working with? I mean, that's fine. But that's the only piece of information that I personally care about because, like I said, worst case scenario, I'm gonna go show a house and at least I've seen another house. Every house I see helps me get better.
What about you, Chuck?
I agree. The only thing I really care is if there's that roadblock that legally prevents me from being their agent. Other than that, my whole focus is just getting to them. Again, it doesn't matter qualifications, things like that. Past brokerages told us to sit behind our desk and stay behind our computer until we've asked them 1,000 questions. If they're not qualified, don't get up. Well, Jeffrey's philosophy, which meshes with the same way I think about our job and our profession, is get there in front of the person, have that communication, because that's the next best step. Right now, you got them on the phone where you're building a relationship with them. The more valuable is the face-to-face, the seeing them, the talking to them, the actual learning each other's mannerisms, and really making that a personal connection. So yeah, my whole focus is, I love that we're talking, but how do we get to face-to-face with each other? Yes, let's go look at that house.
So if they say, okay, 1 o'clock, let's go see such and such, how do you bring up, are you working with another agent?
I typically remind them again, and I just want to say thank you again for connecting through Realtor.com. They connect you to agents like myself who help buyers like you. Again, it's this back and forth. Thank you for connecting. Help buyers like you. And that way I get to be your agent as we go look at these homes and things like that. But let's go take a look at this home and see if it's the right fit for you.
And they typically would say something like, oh, I have an agent, if they did.
Oh, I'm sorry. My agent is on vacation this weekend and I was just calling to see if somebody would show me a house. Oh, I apologize. Then it backtracks and then I'm not leaving my desk.
Right.
Or it's great. Just so you know, we have talked to a couple of agents before, but no, that's fine. Let's go look at the house together, and we'll see if we're a good fit for each other as well. But it's always being again calming and in the presence that we're offering and things like that. But getting to that doorstep, because that's the biggest connection. I find that with my Op City leads, the highest percentage that I've closed are ones that I met them that first day. If you don't see them that first day, your percentages go down immediately. Even if it's I want to see it a week from now, or we'll be in town in 2 weeks, things like that. Those are still, decent percentage, but if I can get them to that doorstep, much higher conversion rate. So my whole focus in that conversation is yes, let's go to that house. I'll meet you there.
So I want to get to that in a minute. We're going to come back to that. What if they do have an agent one? But let's stick with the, is there anything you're trying to figure out on that first call, Chris, that helps you realize if this is a serious, real person or not so much? Is there anything that
I mean,
you feel
I would say
for?
it's very similar. I mean, basically I want to know if they have an agent as well. Some of it, is, whether or not they're serious also depends on when they tell you their time frame is as well. Like they'll be like, oh, we're not looking for a year. We're just interested in this house, which obviously tells me right out the gate, they're not in town. They don't want to go look at it. So I just kind of get as much information as I can at that point. And I'll let them know, like, hey, if you want, we can bump it up a little bit. I can do a virtual tour with you and get in front of them that way. Because I feel like even if you get in front of them on a virtual tour that same day to go look at a house that they didn't know that they were interested in, also helps as well. Because then now they've seen you. They see, whether it's video or not, they see you in person. You walked all the way through the home. You took up time out of your day. I can't obviously say that is like guaranteed if they're that far out, but it does help keep in touch with them. But at the end of the day, like I'm just looking at getting in that door, meeting them in person, and I just directly ask them. Typically if I have any inclination, like if they say something and they're just like, yeah, I just want to look at it, like I just need answers. Typically that tells me that most likely they just want answers because they have another agent. Is what I've seen lately, is that they're just like really pushing to just answers and they just want to go look at it really quick. I'll ask them and be like, are you working with another agent, that I don't want to step on their toes or anything? They're like, yeah, he's just out of town, he's super busy, I just need to look at it, that's it. So those are things I've noticed that kind of trigger me to ask that question.
Well, what do you do when they say they have another agent?
It really just depends. I mean, the next question is, have you been working with them long? Have you just chatted with them on the phone? Have you signed an agreement? I mean, you could go either way. at that point, it also just depends on my schedule. Like if I have a bunch of openings, you know, and I can go show it, then I'm like, hey, have you signed anything with them? Are you committed? And if they say no, I'd be like, let's go take a look at it and see if maybe I can help you out.
What if it's their mother-in-law? Is
If it's
the
the
other
right
agent?
one, go look at it yourself.
I mean, I've actually had that happen.
Well, I've gotten to, and sorry to.
Oh, go.
And I
go for it,
still
go for
went
it.
and showed the house because the
I've
mother-in-law
done it
was
too.
in Soda Springs.
Right.
So I just went and did it as a
Right.
favor to an agent.
Mhm.
If
But
I,
I'm just
if I ask the question and they say, well, we've got somebody, blah, 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 and we're just trying to see it. And I'm like, well, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Well, we haven't signed anything with them. They kind of start backtracking
Exactly.
and doing that.
Right.
And at that point, I'll say, okay, well, let me ask it to you this way. If we see this property and it's the perfect property for you, are you prepared to write an offer with me today to purchase this home? Because that's the one where it's really going to get to like, no, because we're going to go through my mother-in-law. Okay. Then
Right.
we'll
Call
figure
her.
out something different.
Yeah, because I mean, like
I
you
mean,
said,
somebody who's out of town like that, that's maybe a referral fee for you or something. Like
Right.
maybe that one's different. But if they're just on vacation, because we've all
Right.
had that,
Right.
like I'm not gonna.
I love that question, by the way. Every time you show buyers, I think you should ask that question. Not just in this case, if they have maybe have another agent. Every time when I used to show a buyer, I would ask them, we'd be in the car, because back in the day, I always used to ride in my car. Now we would drive separately. But I would sit there and I'd say, so Chuck, I mean, literally we'd sit there and I'd say this. We're going to look at 6 houses. And here's the, and I have all the forms, have all the client full. He's got them all, you know, a little folder and all this. If we find a house today that fits exactly what you're looking for, and it's everything we've been talking about, are you prepared to write an offer today on that house? Like, I want to look him in the eye, because if he says no, which they will every now and then, they're like, you know, no. I'm like, so what are we doing? I'll literally ask, I'll put it in his court. So what are we doing here? And I'll just wait, and he'll like, well, you know, that's a good question, Rick. And you know, I got to figure out this first, that first. Like, I want to put some pressure on them. I want the pressure of the silence to like, are you, I'm not just a chauffeur here. Are we going to buy a house or not? It's like, and I'd ask them that question just to get their mind prepared, because especially when the market's hot. You guys probably dealt with this in COVID, but I dealt with this back in 05 and 06, and people were like, oh, we're going to think about it. Of course, then it's gone. It's like, guys, you're not going to think about this. This is either going to work and you're going to write an offer today, or it's not. It's one or the other. But get them prepped going in so they have that expectation. I love that question. Are you prepared to write an offer if we find something today?
Yeah.
And their answer gives me a big gauge on how serious they are. So Chuck, what do you do when somebody says, oh, actually, we're working with another agent. I really appreciate, you know, you being able to show this for us, but we do have another agent we're working with. How do you handle that?
I then emphasize how we work here at Sweet Group, and I tell them, well, just so you know, it's unfortunate that your agent's just in McCall for the weekend. Typically, when I'm representing buyers, I give them my full attention. If I'm ever away and unavailable, I have a resource or another agent that I would happily have in connection with to show them. So I'm sorry that your agent is away right now, but do they potentially have someone from their brokerage that can show you? Because I'm not going to get that lead, but I want to be positive, and then I also want to remind them how our brokerage might be different, or my business might be different, and how I operate it. I just want to plant a seed in their head that, man, maybe my agent isn't as available as I thought they were.
Yeah. Well, and frankly, also giving that agent the benefit of the doubt a little bit too, because maybe that agent had that conversation with them ahead of
Yeah.
time, and they're
And they
impatient.
forgot.
And I would want that professional courtesy from somebody else
Yeah.
that they got.
Exactly. So I don't just cut them off. I don't just say, hey, fun talking to you, and just hit
Yeah, hang
end. But I do say, you know, let's do this. How about you reach out to your agent, see if there's somebody from their brokerage, a partner agent that they have that can show you. If you hit any roadblocks, give me a call back. I'd love to talk to you more, but I also don't want to get in the way of the the structure that your agent's set up for you,
Right.
and their availability. And so again, it's kind of a dead lead because they have signed paperwork or they have a mother-in-law connection that you're not going to get in between.
So I got a sale from doing that before. It wasn't the person who called in, but their mother was helping them. They're not the agent, like they were just helping them look at the houses and things like that. And the mother called me back later and said, "You were just so professional and so much better than the one that. And we're actually moving there too. Can you help us find a house?"
Nice.
So it absolutely can work. I mean, it's going to be 1 out of 1,000,
Sure.
Right.
but
Right.
I'll take it.
I think that's the same.
Well, and, you know, I always think of like when people cut me off in traffic, I always think, okay, is this just a jerk, or did they not even really know that they did that? I was an agent for 18 years. I remember driving to an open house. We were in Oregon City, Oregon, and my mother-in-law, talking about mother-in-laws, called me in the car. My wife was with me. We did an open house together. we started talking. She literally asked me, how much do you guys make for holding an open house? So, I mean, like, it dawned on me, most people have no clue how real estate works. They have no idea how we get paid. They think we have a job like anybody else. Like, Judy, I don't get paid for holding open houses. You realize I only get paid when the house closes. Like, I thought this was kind of common knowledge kind of thing. We've been married for 20 years. I mean, and her mom knew we were in real estate. She had no clue.
Right.
So a reasonably intelligent, middle-aged woman, I mean, sometimes they don't know. So these conversations that you're having with them, hey, maybe at another age in your life, oh, that might work. Maybe they are just being a jerk and they're trying to get you to show them something for free and knowing they're not going to pay you. But sometimes they just don't know what the heck's going on. They honestly don't know how it works.
Well, the other thing is, we talked about it, most often they think they're calling the listing agent.
Right.
They hit realtor.com.
Yeah.
I think, that's
They
that's
think,
my
yeah.
experience. They think, okay, I'm going to call this. So I think they think they're calling the listing agent, and they don't realize you're a buyer's agent, so that's your explanations are excellent. Excellent.
I'm going to follow up
Go
on
ahead,
that.
Mike, yeah.
So when they say, "Oh, I thought I'm talking to the listing agent," that's who I want to speak to. How do you respond?
Go.
I usually say, I can help you get the answers you need. The one question I would have for you, sir, is speaking to the listing agent, they're going to offer you a perspective that is geared towards helping their seller. So their answers may not always be the most open answers for you. What questions did you have? Because I would love to give you an unfiltered set of data or information for you to make the best decision. If they keep pushing, well, I've always worked with a listing agent. Every time I bought a house, I bought 5 houses in my life, and I always work with a listing agent. I say, totally understandable. I don't want to get in the way of the way that you've always operated, but I again want to remind you that I'm here on your behalf to help you make sure that you have true data, true information. What were those questions? Just out of curiosity. Even if they still don't want me to answer for them, I still want to know, well, what was the question that was so important to get that listing agent? If they give me a question, then I'm able to come back in and kind of forget that they still want to be talking to the listing agent and have that one more wave of me potentially being the person answering their questions. But again, I let them know that that listing agent has an allegiance.
And not even just an allegiance, a contractual
Yeah,
obligation.
a legal obligation to represent their best interests,
Do
not
you ever
yours.
ask those, do you ever mention legalities or representation or anything like that in the first conversation? No. Like, they're represented by, the sellers are represented by the listing agent, I can represent you, kind of thing, kind of language.
I
Do you
take
use that language?
out the I hate to say cold. I don't mean cold by
Yeah.
but we think paperwork, signing our name to a legal document, that feels cold. I just make sure it's a warm approach, but yes, I do. I
Yeah.
can say, so the way I work and the way that Realtor.com connects a person like you and me together is that you're being connected to a person that can wholeheartedly represent you as the buyer.
Right.
So tell me more. You wanted to know specifically about the property. What was that question you had?
Yeah.
And then make it a warm, but yes.
Right.
He's good
Got
at
it.
letting you off the hook, is what Chuck's doing. They went down an alley, Mike went down a certain, I'm committed to this thing. And Chuck didn't fight that. He let you go down that, but then gave you another perspective to where, like, okay, I can do this without feeling shame or without feeling like, well, I was really pretty hard on this listing agent thing, and now I'm kind of changing my tune. He's letting me change my tune without feeling bad about it.
Exactly.
Diffusing. He's doing really good at that.
I've actually had people hang up.
Hang up on you?
Yeah. When
That's okay.
when they say, "Are you the listing agent?" and I say, "No, I'm not the listing agent, but I can be your agent and represent you in looking at something." And they're like, "Yeah, I only want to talk to listing agent." And
How many of you had people hang up on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'd rather have them hang up than lie to me and get me to show them the house and then still try to just go
Exactly.
to listing agent.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the biggest thing, like Chuck said, is asking the question why. I mean, because then you put it back on them, and then they start giving you all the justifications of why they want to talk to the listing agent. And then they start thinking about it, when Chuck comes back with things, or I've said things in the past too, where they'll come back and they're like, well, I just want to talk with them. It's easier. It's, I get direct information, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, so I mean, some of that, what's that information that you're trying to get that you think that he can directly give you that I can't, just ask those questions. And then I bring up, getting divorced is my favorite thing. It's like, okay, so, just hypothetically, if you were to get divorced today, would you use your wife's divorce lawyer. I mean, essentially it's the same thing,
That's the good.
because they're representing wholeheartedly. I mean, they're trying to get the best thing for their client. They're not looking out for you. I was like, and in this case, I'd be more than happy to look out for you, get you the correct information, and help you through the process. So, I mean, even then, sometimes I still had them not do it, but I mean, sure, give it one hell of a try.
I like the attorney thing. I used to use the attorney thing all the time. I would just, do you want the other side's attorney representing you, or would you rather have your own? They are legally obligated to represent the best interest of their seller. That they've signed a listing agreement already. So, wouldn't you want somebody that's going to represent your best interest?
I also focus on the ease for them. I say a big part of my job is to make this process as easy as possible for you. I do this all day, every day. Most people only buy a house once every few years at the most. If you're looking at this house and there are other houses, I'm assuming you're going to have similar questions about the other houses you see, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if I know you and we have a relationship, I can take those same questions and get the same answers for every property you're interested in and save you a lot of time.
You're not talking to 10 different listing agents.
You're not talking to 10 different listing agents. Not to mention, I may know some additional ways to dig in that somebody who doesn't do this all day, every day may not think of. So my job is to make this simple and easy for you and get you the best level and quality of information possible that you may not get if you go directly to a listing agent.
I love that. Saves time.
I'm closing that scenario tomorrow. Well, we click on 5 or 6 houses. No problem. What are those houses? I can help you with all of those. Your phone's probably still going to ring. You probably need a couple more phone calls, but don't worry. I can handle every one of those houses and any other homes that are interesting to you. So you're a one-stop resource at that point, and that's what we're trying to tell them.
Yeah.
We're not tied to any house.
Right? So a couple things I've noticed, I wrote down this. So 87%, first of all, 87% of people said they would use their agent again by NAR, and they use them the first agent they talk to. So we kind of reiterate the speed to set the appointment. Let's just get in front of them. You've got a really good chance if you get in front of them first that you're going to probably get them. So every single one of these panelists have said, especially if it's today, if it's done something really quickly, I want to get in front of them as soon as I can. Yeah, NAR backs that up. So, and then time. Remember the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss? Okay, that's a really good book. He talks about negotiating. One of the big factors in negotiating is getting them to invest time with you. The more I've invested my time with you, the more likely I am to use you. Right? So asking good questions, making them feel at home, calming them down so they're willing to meet with you in person, that's going to be in your favor because they're going to probably want to use you then. So diffusing and getting in front of them quickly, but then spending time with them is a really big part of negotiating. They've invested time with you, so they want to use you. So let's keep going down this road. I like this, the handling objections thing. So when people say, you know what, Dave, I just want the information on that particular property. I'm just looking for a few answers. I don't want to meet with anybody or see anything. You ever get that? I mean, I want to give you a couple, and I want you guys to give me the common objections that you actually hear. But that seems to me like something people would probably say.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely comes up. But I think that's easy too. Like, absolutely, I 100% can get all those answers for you. Tell me, and I really kind of dig in and try to, what other questions? Okay, fantastic. Let me work on getting these answers. Can I call you back in whatever time frame is going to work for me, and we can talk more about them. That gives it time again. I think sometimes it's just diffusing the situation of where they were to get connected originally. Like, okay, so you're going to be available in, at 1 o'clock where we can have another conversation. I can go over these answers. Then I'll focus more of that conversation on digging in more. I'm not going to push it too hard because then they're going to just continue to be defensive and back off. I have a reason to call them back. And again, what's the worst that can happen? They don't answer the phone and we never have another conversation. Well, it wasn't working anyway, so I haven't wasted more than a few minutes getting answers to their questions. So most of the time, if I can get back on the phone with them, hey, I got all those answers for you, then it's easier to continue asking them questions about it and getting them to open up more.
So besides that, what objection do you hear the most? What do people say that tries to I don't want to meet with you, or I'm assuming that's a big objection.
No, I mean, if they're going through clicking and taking a call and then getting connected and all that, most of the time they're willing to meet in person. It's pretty rare that they're not. I mean, unless there's a real legitimate barrier, like they're out of town or something like that. And then I've got my tactics for those clients as well to make sure I'm still winning them as a client. But like an objection for just, I don't really see
See that? There's no
much of those, but besides what we've talked about, like if they're just trying to get the listing agent or anything.
listing agent, or they have an agent, they just want to use you because their agent's not available.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two biggest.
Yeah.
What about you, Chuck? Do you see objections?
Yeah, whenever I get the objections, again, it's just like the person that only wants information and is putting up roadblocks. I try and then spin the angle of, okay, if I can solidify that I am a person of assistance to them, then maybe when that secondary question comes through, they'll also continue to reach out, continue this conversation. So I simply say, absolutely, I can get you that information that you're looking for. I always like to remind people, the way I see my job is I'm here to make things easier for you, kind of a topic that Dave brought up earlier. My job here is to make things simple, easy. This can be a stressful thing. I want this to be comfortable, relaxing, and be that person for you. And then I get the information for them. And I say, what if I give you a call back? I'm gonna figure out all these answers for you. It may take a phone call here or there. Can I call you back in an hour? Does that work for you? Again, I'm setting that mini appointment. I'm reminding them that
Trial
we're going to
close.
make a commitment to each other to talk again at this date. If it's a phone call, it's a Sunday, and they want to know something about the Boise County and this or that, say, I can get you most of the answers. A couple of these may take me making some phone calls tomorrow. I'm going to call first thing in the morning and get those answers because I have to talk to somebody at the county to get that for you. What time tomorrow is convenient for you for me to give you a call back once I have all this solved for you? Again, we're setting those mini appointments. Then circling back to the idea of how's Opcity different than like a traditional, ding ding, you just got a lead and, Realtor.com lead went to your follow-up boss. The difference between those two, and I like analogies, the ones where it's you've never made contact, you're hoping to have that opportunity with them, is you got a big old box dumped in front of you with some wires and things like that, and it's saying, hey, you need to figure out how to make this light bulb light up. And you're going, well, I'm not an electrician, I'm hoping I can figure this all out.
Right.
The Opcity's different. It's you're given a plug and an outlet, and you go, I plug it in. It's an easy connection. It's how fast can we get to that home, because that is the goal. That's what this person's asking for. That's what I supply. So a little bit different in those, what kind of mentality, objections, paths in front of us, those two opportunities look like. But for the Opcity ones, again, it's just how fast can I get that person and me together and connect, whether it's answers or actually seeing the home, which is more important.
What kind of objections do you deal with, Chris?
I would say it's definitely very similar. The biggest objection obviously is just either the listing agent or they're out of town, they just want information, they're looking to move in 6 to 8 months. And then, some of the times they just ask about the area and then they're just like, okay, let me just think about it and go from there, But like Chuck said, most of it on an Opcity call is very direct up front. Like, what they're looking for. You just have to be able to give them the answer and get them into the door. Like I said, the most that I see the hardest, roadblocks are usually the follow-up boss leads. Is because you have information that could be super old, stuff like that. Maybe they've changed their mind. They haven't talked to anybody. Maybe they've closed on a house already. So those ones, there's always those, with the follow-up boss. But I don't typically have very many with Opcity.
So the other issue I would think with the follow-up boss leads is getting in touch with them in the first place.
Right.
Right.
Those ones are a long shot because
Right.
that number could have been shared with 20 agents and you're
Right.
one of many. So again, that goes back to the speed to phone call.
Mhm.
One other objection that I sometimes get is that person that does say, well, we're a year out from moving, we still have to do this. Our kids have to, in May, they're graduating and then we're moving, all those, it's not happening now moments.
Mhm.
For those, you have to then establish, you take that shorter time frame of me and you meeting at the front door and you just stretch it out. But the way I stretch it out is by saying something along the lines of, okay, I understand. We're targeting next year. We're targeting 2026. What we're going to do in the short term, I always like to praise them. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. If you see any homes that are interesting to you on Realtor.com, just send me a message. I'm going to text you right when we hang up, so you have my contact information. But if you see something that's interesting to you, send me that house. What I want to do is, over the course of the time, is establish a pattern. Be able to notice the things that you like and don't like about homes. Of course, I know that if you send me one next week, you're not buying it, that's no problem. But I want to be able to see the things and the characteristics of the homes that are interesting to you. And so for the next 3 or 4 months, all we're going to be doing is gathering research and information together. I'm going to send you other ones. You're going to get an email from me every day with anything new that you may or may not like. Like them, heart them, favorite them, message me, text me, whatever is easy or convenient. Even if you see them on a different website, send them to me so that, again, we're gathering data together. And then let's plan for this. Once we hit around January, let's start picking things up a little bit faster. We know that, again, your goal is to move in June, but in January, we're going to start picking it up a little bit. And at that point in time, we're going to be focusing a little bit more about not so much the details, broad perspective, but let's start honing in, and that way we're going to be ready, because realistically, we're going to have to find the home that you want in April, May, so that we can be ready to have you move here in June. And I'm establishing that. I'm giving them a sense of what the path looks like.
You're giving a path.
Yeah.
You're making things easier. You're also time. You're creating them thinking about you more. There's more time investment on their part, sending you stuff,
Yeah.
thinking about you. So all these things are really good negotiating tool that he's doing. He's making it very palatable for them. Like, okay, he's taking the pressure off. They're not going to push me. They understand next June.
Exactly. And one other little small thing I like to do too is remind people that they're in control. Nobody ever wants to feel like you're a passenger in a car. I'm sure we all take Uber or things like that when we need to, but more often than not, people like to be the driver. So I remind them I'm simply the navigator. I'm trying to be the person that's getting them information, telling them where the best stops are, things like that. But I tell them, look, a reminder, you're in control. If for some reason you decide to move faster or slower, all you have to do is let me know. The train moves as fast or as slow as you want it to. And again, I'm just kind of building them up and reminding them that I'm just simply the person here feeding them the information that they're looking for to make the best choice for themselves. Because again, we all want to feel empowered.
Yeah.
So
You have anything else on that? Hey, Rich, what do you have?
Oh, I don't know. This is somewhat related, but I think it's important to talk about what happens, because we focus a lot of our time on those buyers who are ready to go see a house today.
Right now.
But like, what do we do for the buyer who is, again, like that, like you're saying, or if they're out of town, etc. So I really like what Chuck is saying about setting an appointment for something, whatever that appointment is, whether it's to answer questions, whether it's to continue, talking about the houses they're looking at. I think about that a lot with the ones who call and they're out of town and they're not planning to visit anytime soon, or maybe they're coming in a month or something like that. I don't want my first visit with that person to be when they get here to see a house. So I always try to set up a buyer's consult over the phone with them and do a Zoom call. Say, okay, let's set this up, and here's why. Let me tell you what most of my clients find useful at this stage when they're still just early planning their trip out. A lot of times people have family or things like that they're also visiting. Like, I want to make the most efficient use of your time possible. What most of my clients find useful is if we have a phone call or a Zoom meeting ahead of time, we get to know each other a little bit. I get to know what you're looking for, and then we can have a much more detailed plan about where you go and what you see. And we do a combination of tours, areas that I want you to drive around yourself, areas that we're going to look at together, and specific homes we're going to see together while you're here. That way you can spend as much time with your family, but also accomplish your goals around real estate. And most of the time I'm able to get that buyer's consult. And at that point, once you have that consult, whether it's virtual or not, it's,
How often do you do Zoom consults, do you think?
if they're out of town, I try to get with every single one of them. So I do it pretty frequently.
It's a good idea.
Because again, if I'm relying on my first meeting with that client to be when they get here, they may click another button on another website before they come, and
Yeah.
somebody else might do that instead.
And then now they're tied to them.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah, we got about 10 minutes. I was going to say, let's open it up to anything, last things you guys want to say, and questions for the group. Yeah.
Unclaimed lead comes through. This just happened to me the other day. I called the guy. He said, "You're the fourth guy in 2 minutes." How do you approach that?
I say, oh man, usually I'm the first.
So they're mad. They're upset, probably.
Because for me, I would be frustrated.
Sure.
I'd be like, okay, stop calling.
Yeah.
Because I only want to talk to one person. So how do you get over that hurdle? Because I want to catch them, but they're already upset.
I would say, man, I am so sorry that happens. Sometimes, the program simply says that somebody needs help, and a lot of people show up to help you. That being said, the information that you probably want, 80% of it, any of us can answer for you. But what's most important to you? What can I do to make life easier for you? I can't stop these phone calls. I apologize for that. I wish I could, but I can be the person to help you. So what was it that you were looking for? And then find out what that was and say, okay, Again, reminder, make it real personal.
Mhm.
Again, you're probably gonna get a couple more phone calls. I can't stop that. That's not how the system works. But you can start just sending those next ones to voicemail. I'm gonna get those answers for you. I'll give you a call back in about 10 minutes. You'll see my number. It's gonna be the one that ends in 1328. And then we'll chat a little bit more. And again, looking forward to helping you, looking forward to being that person for you. Just kind of brush that to the side if you can of,
Well, I like how you opened up. You opened up with, "I'm so sorry that happened to you."
yeah,
That's the first thing he said. "I'm so sorry that happened to you." That's like, oh, okay. Now I'm still pissed, but
Yeah, the
I'm not
guard
pissed
drops.
I'm not pissed at you. And he's like, when the system says somebody needs help and you click on something, a bunch of people unfortunately responded and want to help you. Like, that's another way of looking at it. I like that frame, Chuck. That's really good.
I like that a lot.
Can I add something not related to Op City? Open house. I'm new, so most of the time I don't know what I'm doing. So I met a guy at an open house for Dave, and the guy was really interested in talking to me, and I mean, orally, I mean, not agreement or anything. He said he's gonna work with me to sell his house
Okay.
and to buy the new one. But then my question is, how can I keep contact with them? I mean, I text him, but is there any strategy that I can use? Because the guy is gonna have a hip replacement and he's gonna be ready in April. That's what he said. And I want to really keep, in touch
Keep in
with
touch with
him.
them and add value in some way
Yeah.
over the next
So-
4 months.
What is the strategy for that?
I say, I think what I would have probably done in the beginning would have been like, I know you're out a little ways to, selling your home, but let's set an appointment. I can pop in like a couple of days just to take a look at it so that I can better prepare for when you're ready. Because then you're in front of him,
And you're getting
looking
that
at
time
his
investment,
house.
and you're getting that time
All right.
investment from him.
You know exactly what his house looks like. I mean, so you've been in there, you've had the conversation. You're at his dining room table, so all he knows is like you're here.
You can still do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Why can't you take the buyer's agreement with you too? Isn't
It's very forceful for most people
Is
right
it?
now.
Well,
I used to always send it to them ahead of time. Okay, let's get rid of some of the paperwork so when we get ready to make an offer, it's a lot faster for both of us. So I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Here's what I want to hear what you guys think about this. The way I would do that, Bobby, though, I would say these are some papers like the blue brochure, the buyer rep agreement that at some point we're going to have you fill out when we get closer to April in this case. And some people say, "Oh, fill them right now." I mean, it's rare, but some people just like, "No worries." Otherwise, I think whenever you're ready, we're gonna deal with this at some point. I just want to make sure you understand these are some of the things we're gonna be going through. But right now, let's focus on your house. I want to walk through their house and take a look at it. I mean, I might present it as an option, but I wouldn't ask for them to sign it unless they just jumped on it. That's my.
So here's
I must get really lucky sometimes because I've gone to listing appointments and I've had all my paperwork all filled out
Right there.
with the price, all the paperwork, my signatures, everything. And after I get through presenting him, I said, "Are you ready to go?" He said, "Yeah, I like everything." I said, "Great, let's pull it out." He signs it and I walk out the door.
Thanks, Brandon. We'll see you tomorrow.
I mean, that works. I mean, I really like that for sellers' appointments.
For sellers,
I've,
absolutely.
I've done that.
It's different for
where
buyers.
either
Okay, gotcha.
I've filled it out and brought it with, or I've just brought it with. Because a lot of people don't like to sit down and fill that out. They just like the e-copy of it. They sign it, good to go. So I'll bring you with, and I'm like, hey, this is all the documents we're going to go over. We're going to go through whatnot. I was like, let's go through your house, look at it. We can go through all this after, just quick, breezy, go through it so you know what it looks like. I'm going to leave it with you so you can go over through it again. And then I'm going to go ahead and have an e-copy ready to go. So if you're comfortable at the end of this conversation here, I'll have it sent to you directly right away and we can sign and move forward. But with the buyers, obviously, everybody's on the fence lately. I mean, I've noticed it. Like
Really?
most people are on the fence lately signing a buyer's agreement because of the whole lawsuit thing. They're like, oh, am I going to have to pay you? So I think really just sitting down and having that conversation before you give them the paper is going to be the best bet for that one. But once you have that conversation, most of them are pretty
Yeah, I haven't
open
been
to it, but they're
in
just
5
very
years, so,
unfamiliar
Yeah.
with how the
Lots changed.
new process works. To me, it's not new because it's the same process, but to them, they think it's new,
Right.
and they think it's obviously now they have to pay you, which in reality, I mean, potentially they could have to, but it's just how you explain it to them.
Can I ask a question about Op City? How does that work? Is it when we get a lead here, does it go to not just us but other companies all at the same time, or what is that?
So we own all of those leads, but it might go to other agents here.
Okay.
And it's going to depend on, first of all, how you do with those leads, like how many you're closing. You'll get preferential, you'll get better leads if you're doing better. It also depends some on geography, like they'll try to get to people who are closer to where that one is. There's a lot of factors behind the scenes that we don't understand, but it's all within our brokerage, but it'll be multiple agents. So like if you're a few seconds slower than Marino, he might get it instead, you know, and it might go to Chuck, then to Chris, then to me, and it might be even that fast, but it's because they want to get the client out.
So Follow Up Boss and Opcity are two different things.
Two different things, yeah.
That's what I'm confused on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So Opcity is through Realtor.com. It's our lead program where leads come in. So if somebody's on the computer, sees a house they like, they click, I want to talk to an agent. Goes to Opcity, immediately it fans out to 3 different agents within our brokerage, and that's how we connect to them. Follow Up Boss is our platform, our CRM, where we have all of our clients listed. Sometimes leads go in there. Follow Up Boss has its own way of also gathering leads, and from there, they go out.
And those ones aren't live connections. Those are ones you have to reach out to. And
right.
make
So
that
I'm on
initial-
Follow Up Boss. I mean, I'm doing reaching out when I can, when I actually get the lead. It's
Yeah.
changed recently, where I think
Now you have to claim it instead of it just
claim
getting
it,
assigned
right?
to
Really?
But your Opcity, is that just for preferred agents who are actually doing business? I mean, how do you get on
you.
Opcity?
That's a Jeffrey question.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if you want to be,
I
you should
see.
definitely talk to Jeffrey.
Yeah, okay.
Wanted to circle back. Your client that's not going to sell till April, that kind of thing. One conversation you could have is simply say, hey, I was doing some research on your home. You've got a beautiful house, but I can only see the outside of it and the data about your home. Are you available next week? I just wanted to look at it because I saw a couple of homes that I think are similar that I'm using as my data for when we do meet. I wanted to see all the bells and whistles. It'll be a quick meeting. I'll swing by your house, less than a half hour. But if you could just show me around your home, I just wanted to see some of the things, maybe the things that you've added to your home since you've owned it, as well as just kind of see the layout a little bit better. And then, yeah, I'll get out of your way. And again, we'll prepare for April and that kind of thing. But again, that gets you into the house. And my half hour pop in usually ends up being an hour and is kind of morphed into a listing presentation at that time. But
It depends on the home too. If it's an older home, a lot of times,
Yeah.
I mean, like what Chris said, what I would have done just like right then at the open house, I say, I'd love to go look at your house in the next, like today or soon. Like, oh, there's a backyard needs to be re-landscaped. You need to fix the deck, or can you paint the back bedroom? Right? You know, just look for things to give because you got 5 months, but maybe there's some things you'll want to do to get the most out of your house. I'd love to walk through it and just kind of look at it from a listing agent's eyes.
that way, when I watch the market over the next 5 months, I'm making sure that I'm making mental note of only homes that are actually comparable to yours so that we can have some really good data for when it's go time. But yeah, if you're available on Saturday, we think 2 o'clock, is it okay if I swing by and quick tour of the house and then I'll get out of your way and let you have your afternoon?
Yeah, that's me.
Something like that. This week is holiday weekend. But, you know.
Right. So I know we're at the end of our time here.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be helpful to do another. We've talked so much about getting to that appointment, but then talking about what we do at that first appointment. Like this, that could be a whole,
Yeah.
whole other.
This was
panel.
about getting to that front door. Once you walk in, what do you do next? How do you, again, continue that conversation with that city lead or any lead, but specifically the
Now you have
city
to really earn their business, and
Yeah.
So now you got in front of them. You close for the appointment. So now, what do you do at the appointment?
Yeah.
To close for the business down the road, because
Yeah.
likely it's not that day they're writing something.
Right.
It's in a week, a month, 6 months.
Oh no, I had one.
Did you have it? Okay.
Sometimes you get
I
lucky.
did. I was to say I had one.
Yeah.
I was driving back from Emmett, and Opcity went through, and they wanted to see a house in Emmett. I turned around, went back. They're like, write it up, same day.
Cool.
So it can happen.
Did it close?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys want, we could all, I think that'd be a good,
Be a good class.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll set a date and figure out one of these Mondays. But thank you guys for being here.
Thank
Again,
you.
these are on recorded, so hopefully we can hear everybody's questions and stuff. But they'll all be on the YouTube channel. So we have 89. We have 94 agents now. We have 7 subscribers to our YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll fix that.
What's wrong with this picture in my hand? It's like, come on, guys. At least our agents should be subscribers to the channel, right? Because we put all.
I hold a fine.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know. I
Sweet Group
trust
Realty.
you.
I'll send it out in a link to everybody.
That's
Right, yeah, it's good, yeah.
All right. But thank you, by the
Thank
way,
you,
Dave, for coming
guys.
up with this
Thank
idea.
you, guys.
Yeah,
Like-
absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
It was great.
Very good.
Good.
I will unblock. So here, actually, you can get out of here now.
Oh, thanks.
We just finished it.
Awesome.
So probably got about a half hour. You got some people